if you're getting ready to move to Plattsburgh or the North Country, one of the hardest things about moving, and I've had my share of doing it over 20 years in the military, is, okay, when you get there, I've never been there before. I don't know where I should live. I don't know where I shouldn't live. I want to make sure that my family is going to like it if I'm moving there with a family. So all those type of things, is that big stress causer about when you relocate. So I'm hoping that this video will give you a lot better idea about where you're going to want to move to when you come to Plattsburgh. We're going to get to it right now. Thanks so much for checking out the video. My name is James Jock with eXp Realty. If this is your first time checking out the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, then click the bell so you'll get notified anytime I do a new video. All right, so this video is going to cover anything you're going to want to know about living, working, playing, sleeping, eating, dining, shopping, or whatever in the Plattsburgh area. So probably one of the first decisions that you're going to look at when trying to decide where you want to live and where do you want to start looking for houses is think about well, first of all, what brings you to the area? Is it a job that you're relocating? Is it moving towards family or friends? Is it the recreational opportunities? Because a lot of those things are really going to decide or help you decide where you're going to live. Well, if you're going to work right in the Plattsburgh area, it really depends on what your tolerance is for driving. Because I'll be honest, it's pretty rural. So you're not going to hit rush hour traffic. You might hit rush minute traffic here and there. But for the most part, it's going to be pretty easy to get to wherever it is you're going to work, regardless of where you're working in the area, whether it's in Plattsburgh or north or south or anywhere in the area. The only thing that really slows down your ability or the timing for you to get to work is in the wintertime if it's the middle of a snowstorm and you've got to get from here to there. That's really going to be the only thing that's going to slow you down when it comes to that. But the other thing that I found in all the moves that my wife and I have done, over the years, we were in the Air Force for 20 plus years, is what's your tolerance for how long do you want it to take to drive to work? Because when we pull up the map and give you a little orientation here in a minute, you're going to see that it's pretty easy to get around. And like I said, even the highway that we have, I-87, also called the Northway, whether you use that or you take the other roads, it's still not going to take you that long, to get to work. Whether you say, I'm just assuming you're going to be working like in the greater Plattsburgh area, which is, I forget however many square miles, but it's rural. So the city of Plattsburgh has about 20,000 people. Maybe the new census will give us numbers that'll move around. But, and the whole county is 80,000. So you can easily be 15 minutes from the city, the downtown of Plattsburgh. You can be within 15 minutes and still live, in an area that, you could have 5 or 10 acres pretty easily, not have any neighbors if you don't want them. Not everywhere has sidewalks. So, what you'll see, for example, behind me this is a little place called Morrisonville. When I say, Morrisonville is a little bit bigger area. This is kind of the downtown Morrisonville area. That doesn't mean that, all the houses have, in Morrisonville are going to have sidewalks and things like that. It's more apt that they won't. The more you go out from, that little community, that little main street type of thing. So that's what's pretty common in a lot of the areas that you'll see here is like what you see behind me. You'll see this little main street kind of thing. But then, there's a lot of other housing opportunities, more probably, that are away from that little area. We're kind of on the northeast side of the Adirondack Mountains. So what you'll find is we do have some mountains that are closer. And I'll show you that when we start looking on a couple of the maps here, just to help get you oriented. But, you could easily be up on a mountain and overlooking, the Champlain Valley and Lake Champlain and things like that. It's really beautiful to live here. My wife and I have lived in in some crazy places together and even more places separate. but we lived in the Republic of Panama, which was a stupid, crazy, busy place to live. Crazy traffic, not managed well. Easily take 20 minutes or a half an hour to get to work if we're living in the Panama City and driving across Panama Canal to where we had to go to work. But we didn't really care for that. We'd rather just let's get up and walk to work or very short drive. And we also lived in Southern Virginia, where in the Hampton Roads area, north of Norfolk, Virginia, and that was crazy. We went back and visited a couple of years ago, and all the shortcuts to avoid the traffic, those didn't work anymore because those were even more backed up than I-64. But we quickly learned after visiting there again, because when we left, we said, oh, it'd be nice to live here. It was really nice, a lot to do and things like that. But the traffic there, you can keep it, because we don't want to spend all our time driving. We just want to relax. You work hard all week. You just want to get home. You want to relax. So for us, that was a big decider, was what the traffic's like. So, we've kind of, we've been to the crazy traffic, stupid, busy places, and that is not for us. You can have it if that's for you. But what you'll find is you're not gonna have that type of traffic problem in Plattsburgh at all, really. I mean, there are areas, of course, every place has some areas that are going to be busy, but that's not what we care to see. So with that being said, let's take a look at the map and just get an idea and become a little better acquainted with the area. But here's the map zoomed out, and I just wanted to show you again, just so you remember our layout. Here's New York State. There's New York City down here at the bottom. And we're all the way up towards the top of the map on the northeast corner of New York. This is Lake Champlain down the middle, and to the right is Vermont, and up here we have Quebec. So one thing that's important to know about Plattsburgh, and I may or may not have mentioned it before, but we're almost like the American bedroom community for Montreal. Before COVID hit, and hopefully soon, we had a lot of cross-border traffic. A lot of people from our community here would go up to shop into restaurants up in Quebec and Montreal and downtown area and things like that, and vice versa. Our Canadian friends would come down here shopping and restaurants and things to do to have fun. So we've missed that over the last year, not having our friends from the north, but it's from Plattsburgh to Montreal is like an hour maybe, depending on what bridge traffic is on the northern side. So this is where we are, and like I said, you don't have to go far to kind of have quaint little areas to live. I mean, right here from where that McDonald's is showing up to Champlain is maybe 25 minutes. So it's a real easy drive, and it's probably 25 miles. So I know some places it take 3 hours to go 2 miles. Not here. That's not going to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, because if you're living and working right here in the Plattsburgh area, you could very easily live to the north in Chazy and have maybe a 20-minute commute into work if you're working in or around the Plattsburgh area. Very easy commute. So that's an area that Chazy has a long history with the Miner Institute and having one of the first schoolhouses and a lot of early sometime in the 1800s, strong emphasis on education, and miners built the first hospital in the area that's in Plattsburgh now. So Chazy is rich in history and not a far commute either. If you live right in the village area, again, they have a village area like the map I showed you before, and they have municipal water and municipal sewer, which are, depending on where you're moving from, those are things that a lot of people expect. But not everywhere has that. It's very common to have your own septic system, your own well, and there are certain things that that, you know, when you buy a home that has that, there are certain tests that you can do just to make sure everything's working properly. So as you move from Shazy here, farther down south, West Shazy, Beekmantown. Beekmantown is, you know, 5 or 10 minutes, I think, from the Plattsburgh area. It also, the town of Beekmantown has a lot of the manufacturing plants, a lot of the retail and things like that are in the Beekmantown, in the town of Plattsburgh, but in the town in Beekmantown school district. So what that means is they've got very affordable, you know, property taxes and school taxes and things like that. And I've got a separate video about the cost of living in Plattsburgh that you should check out. That's got some extended information about property taxes. But you can very easily commute from Plattsburgh, Beekmantown to Plattsburgh. When you go to the west, the Morrisonville area, and like I said, when I say the Morrisonville area, because it's so rural, when listings go in, they go in based on the zip code and what is considered, for example, Morrisonville for the post office. So there isn't a town of Morrisonville. Morrisonville is actually divided between the town of Plattsburgh and the town of Schuyler Falls, but the Morrisonville area for mail delivery, which is how home listings are put in, is really kind of a, you know, a funky shape that doesn't really make sense, but that's how it is. So there's, you know, there are a lot of homes in Morrisonville. Again, the farther you get out from Plattsburgh, you know, the more homes, they're going to be more spread out. Nice quiet roads, dead end roads. This one here where it says Beartown, remember, Beartown has actually got a ski mountain, small, but a nice size hill there that a lot of people go with their families or their kids or something to teach them to ski and things like that. So there's also a video that I did that you can see about what activities you can do in the wintertime. I think it's a pretty interesting video, but, you know, I'm a little biased. So let's, I'm just going to scroll in here a little bit. So this area is this city of Plattsburgh here. And this is where, you know, there are communities that have homes that are, you know, very, very close together, like you would see in other cities. You may have like 0.1 acre or 0.3 acres. You could probably put that in terms of square feet, where you may have a 10,000 square feet lot or something like that, or some are even smaller. Different parts of the city, depending on how old the houses are, have varying sizes lots, because, you know, when the city was being built, all right, let's make a street here, and all the lots are going to be, you know, 60 by 100 feet or something like that. So it varies. So down here it says park. That is the Plattsburgh. Well, actually, it used to be Plattsburgh Air Force Base is what it was. Oop, what happened here? Okay, that's just outlining 12903, a separate area code. So where it says park, this whole area here is the housing of the former Air Force Base. Part of that, the base housing was converted to housing that is sold, and, you know, is part of it is a homeowner association. So if you're looking for a home that you don't have to snow shovel much, you don't have to mow the lawn, then that's, you know, an area that you might want to consider. And that is what's on the, they call it the new base and the old base. And the reason they did that, I'm going to zoom in here a little more. The county airport is currently over here. That used to be the Air Force Base's runway. And now it's the county airport up on the north end. The barracks golf course used to be the base golf course, things like that. When the Air Force Base was first built in, oh gosh, long time ago, there was an oval, and there's like an old side of the base where the old buildings were, and then so they still call it the old base and the new base. So the old base is between the lake and Route 9, this U.S. Avenue. That's where there we go. Let's see it a little bit better. That's considered the old base. The new base is on the other side of the road between U.S. Avenue and where the flight line is. And then over in here is where the housing area is. Lake Country Village is the homeowner association there, and that can be a good option for you. There are also some little housing areas just tucked away, like Cliff Haven right here is a quaint little spot. One interesting note there is they have their own beach right here, and you can do a voluntary homeowner association fee under $200 a year, and that just helps, buy a new picnic table when they need picnic tables and things like that. But private beach just for the people who live in Cliff Haven, which is this small community right here. So that's kind of one of those neat little things to look at. Again, the homes there you can see are in windy little streets, and I can just give you an idea. That's about what it looks like. Here's the private little beach that they have for the community there. You can also moor a dock. Yeah. You can moor a boat there. That'd work better. So that's a little area. Again, those homes are closer together, but that doesn't mean, that's just one of the options. And I'm just going to show you over here. This is mostly where Lake Country Village is here in this section, and you can see that they're close together. A lot of those are either like these right here are sixplexes. There are some duplexes. There aren't any single family in that area until you get down to this area down in here, kind of the south end of Main Road, and some on Louisiana have some single family or duplexes that you can that might come available. Okay, and again, that's just if you're looking for that closer in. So when they built up the Air Force Base in the 50s, it was here, I think in the early 1900s, but when they built it up in the 50s, they had a need for a great number of houses in a very short period of time. So there are sections of the city that, you'll have whole streets. Let me just see, like some of the houses in this area were mostly built in the 50s when they built up the Air Force Base. There's also an area called Cumberland Head, and it's, let's see, Champlain Park is here. It kind of looks small, but there's a lot of houses in there. Those were mostly built in the 50s as well when they were building up the Air Force Base, because they had all these people coming and they had to have somewhere to live. I kind of wish they would build a couple more areas like that now, just because, it's always nice to have a little bit more housing inventory. So Cumberland Head is a nice area. Again, there's a lot of lake frontage there. Not as many homes come available on lakefront though. So you really have to be ready and looking and be able to, when you see something, you got to move on it if that's what you're interested in doing. And right at the end of Cumberland Head is a ferry to Vermont. That's kind of an interesting thing because Burlington and Plattsburgh are considered one market for media. I'm just going to zoom out here. So here's Burlington, here's Plattsburgh. Burlington is much larger than Plattsburgh. But there's this big old lake right down the middle. And it's interesting because it does create two separate communities. So you do have to, pay to cross that on a ferry, a big boat that cars drive on. So that's kind of an interesting thing there, just because it does divide the community. Now, at the same point, I'll tell you, this big lake in Plattsburgh hosts some bass fishing tournaments every year. So if you like to bass fish, got to be careful how you say that. This is a great spot. 2 or 3 tournaments in the summer every year. FLW does one, and I'm not a bass fisherman, I'm sorry, so I can't really tell you much more than that. Some different charitable organizations in the Plattsburgh area host some of those fishing events, and they do the weigh-ins and things like that. Yeah, it's a great boom to the economy. It's a great thing to do in the summer. There's that big lake, and we use it winter, summer, and all year round. But there is a project still in the works where the city of Plattsburgh won a $10 million redevelopment grant to revitalize the downtown area. And there's, the usual back and forth about, well, this is a good idea, that's not a good idea. But what I'll say in the end is that The downtown is vibrant, and the city and town are working to try and make it even more so. So hopefully those things will continue to move forward. But I'll be honest, downtown Plattsburgh has some of the best restaurants in town. There's just so, when you walk down there, I'm going to do a separate vlog tour on just, the downtown and the restaurants and stuff. So be looking for that on the channel. It gives you a good reminder to subscribe and hit the like button so you'll find out when things like that are released. But everybody's favorite Greek restaurant just reopened in downtown Plattsburgh. That's called Aleka's. They're also one of the top 3 restaurants in the city is downtown. Oh, I say good, but I mean there are some that are top notch, 5-star type of thing, and I think 2 of those are in the city limits, and then 1 is in the town. Again, the number of restaurants that we have is in part to, remember, our proximity to Montreal, is it caters to people coming from the south that want to come down and have a nice meal or have just a variety of options for meals. Our friends from Vermont who come over, again, they may come over for shops, that we have versus them. Up until about a year or 2 ago, they didn't have a Target, so in the whole state. Now they have 1. So they would come over and shop at the Target at our local mall because they wanted to just buy at Target. We're less than an hour from Lake Placid and the Adirondack Mountains and all the things, the skiing opportunities and all the Olympic venues that you can go and visit and enjoy. So that brings a certain amount of tourism as well that helps support all the shopping opportunities and the restaurant opportunities that you see more right in the Plattsburgh area. But the city line is rough. I was almost going to point on my monitor like you could see that. The city line is about here. So the city and the town really are blended right together. But you'll see some more shops, and here's the mall over in this area. We still have a mall. It still seems to do pretty well. Of course, COVID had some effect on some of that. There are also a lot of hotels. And again, you've got the tourism from the north. You've got the people who are going to the Adirondack Mountains to ski that want to come and have, stay in a hotel and all that. The other thing that we have is we have a couple colleges. How many places, this size have colleges? Plattsburgh State is a State University of New York campus, SUNY Plattsburgh. It's located right in the city in this area here. And the interesting thing about SUNY Plattsburgh compared to some other places is it's right in the city. So you've got regular traffic, driving right through the middle. A lot of campuses that you may have visited, at least I visited when my daughter and I were looking last year, is that, it's kind of an entity to itself and you can only go through there if you're a student. Well, that's not the case with SUNY Plattsburgh. It's kind of, mixed among the city streets. So SUNY Plattsburgh brings people as well. Parents coming to visit their students, students just checking out the area. And we also have a community college as well. Yeah, there it is. Clinton Community College, my alum, or my alma mater, I guess I should say. Used to be a grand hotel in the 1800s, so kind of a cool place as well. Manufacturing Institute, all kinds of things going on there. So you've got a couple colleges, you've got tourists, you've got proximity to Montreal. You can also shop. You can go down to the Albany Capital District, Lake George, pretty easily in a couple of hours. So that just adds to the number of things that you can do on a weekend or whatnot, or on a day off. So more places to live and work. Going to the south, Peru. Peru is one of our, when you look at school districts anyway, the city school district is probably one of the larger districts. Peru is also a larger district. I know the city school district, for example, has an orchestra program where most schools just have a band program. The city has stringed instruments with an orchestra. I don't think Peru does, but I could be wrong. But here's Peru. Peru is also, they've got some housing right here in this area, but this is probably a small percentage when you look at how big the school district is. Again, there's always an area where you can get in to an area that has, the houses that are closer together, but You know, there you see there are housing areas out here, but you know, even on these side roads as you go farther out, there are houses all over that come on the market. You know, the biggest thing if you're moving here and trying to figure out where to live is figure out, you know, and if you call me, which I would hope you would, is figure out how far do you want to be from work, and what is more important, your proximity to work or proximity to like your favorite outdoor activity. Like I had talked to some people last year, and their big thing is, oh my gosh, we're going to be close to Whiteface. So they're living in Plattsburgh. They're going to work. No, yeah, they're going to work in Plattsburgh, but they wanted to be closer to Whiteface. So then we could kind of, you know, based on those criteria that they talked about, we could say, okay, well, let's look in this area, but let's keep our options open because, you know, the difference is maybe 5 or 10 minute drive. So if you're talking about, you know, we want to be close to the mountain because we want to go ski. Well, even if you lived north of Plattsburgh, you know, maybe you'll only be 10 or 15 minutes farther from the mountain than you would have been if you lived south of the city. So the biggest thing is, you know, like I'd mentioned, I only want to be 15 minutes from work. I don't want to have to drive more than 15 minutes. Okay, then let's click on Plattsburgh and let's pick a radius of, say, 15 miles or something like that, or 20 miles or whatever you decide. And then let's just see what options come open. So that way, you know, you'll have the most options and you can say, oh, nice house, but I think I'm just going to wait. Of course, you know, my recommendation is, you know, don't wait too long because the market has been tight. We had a housing listing come on the market last night, and I already have 2 of my clients that are looking at it tomorrow. And I think there were at least 1 more showing set for that day. So yeah, it can be crazy like that. So you got to be ready to move. So I hope all this information is helpful if you're looking to relocate or move first time to the Plattsburgh or North Country area. And I would be more than happy, I'd be ecstatic if I could help you relocate. If I can be of any service to you, reach out to me at the phone number or email, text, any way you want to get in touch with me. It's either at the bottom of this video, in the comments, or anywhere on social. Feel free to call me or text me anytime. And again, if this is the first time to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the little bell so that you're notified anytime I do a new video that will hopefully give you more information about relocating to the Plattsburgh area. Anyway, until then, see you soon.